Okay, we'll be working on the review on pages 560 and following. And you should have already completed this work. If you're just here to get the answers so you can write them down, wrong answer, that's not going to help you very much. So if you have gone through and tried to do this review, then you're ready to check your work and get any extra information. So number 1 says, the blank of a trapezoid is parallel to the bases. And that would be the mid segment, and that should be on your theorem list. The mid segment is parallel to the bases, and it's the average of their lengths. A blank of a polygon, or an blank of a polygon, is a segment whose endpoints are non-consecutive vertices. Non-consecutive vertices on a polygon would have to be diagonal. The diagonal or a diagonal of a polygon is a segment whose endpoints are non-consecutive vertices. Describe the different ways you can show that a trapezoid is an isosceles trapezoid. You should be looking at your theorem list if you don't remember these. You know it's an isosceles trapezoid. First of all, it has to be a trapezoid with exactly one pair of parallel lines. And if the base angles are congruent, so you would say, if its base angles are congruent, it is an isosceles trapezoid. Or, if its diagonals are congruent, if it is a trapezoid, both of these would be if it's a trapezoid, and its diagonals are congruent, it is isosceles. Okay, that would have congruent diagonals. Also, if it were a rectangle or square, they would be congruent, but that wouldn't be a trapezoid. Okay, going on to number 4. It says match the figure with the most specific name. Alright, since this does not have right angles, we just have 4 equal sides and it's a parallelogram, that has to be a rhombus. This is a rhombus, because it has 4 equal sides, that has right angles, so that has to be a square. They all look the same, by the way. This is all by how it's marked. Remember, you can't write anything unless it's marked. And number 6 is a parallelogram because there's nothing marked except the parallel sides. Okay, so make sure that you understand they have to be marked. All right, number 7. Okay, the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a convex regular polygon is 3,960. Classify the polygon by the number of sides. What is the measure of each interior angle? So you're going to start with your theorem for the measure of the sum of the interior angles of a polygon, which, looking at your theorem list, it should be there, n minus 2 times 180. And we know that once you use that formula on this particular polygon, the answer to that was 3,960. Okay, so from here, we need to divide both sides by 180. I know you want to use the distributive property right there, but don't do it. This is much easier. Okay, when you divide by 180, you got your calculator with you. You get 3,960 divided by 180 should give you 22. N minus 2 is 22, which makes n 24. Now you can answer the second part of the question. Classify the polygon by the number of sides. So to classify it, it's a 24-gon. Okay, 24 is simply the number of sides, but you're going to call it a 24gon. That's the classification of it. What is the measure of each interior angle? To find that out, you're going to have to take 3,960 and divide by the 24 angles that you have. And you get 165. 165 degrees. All right, for number 8, first thing you have to do, it says find the value of x. To find x, you need to know how many degrees there are in the entire figure. So you count your sides. I would recommend marking them so you don't overlap. Double check your numbers as you go along. Makes it so you don't make as many mistakes. Using the same formula, we're going to say 6 minus 2 times 180, which is 4 times 180. Using your calculator, 4 times 180 is 720. Okay, now you have to find out how many you already have. And I suggest marking these as you put them in your calculator, but also making sure you write it down somewhere. 90 plus 150 plus 130 plus 97 plus 120. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 97. It doesn't look like a 97. And that's 110. Okay. 90 plus 150 plus 110 plus 97 plus 120 gives you 567. So, x plus 567 equals 720. Subtract 720 minus 567 and you get 133. Let's try that one more time. Oh, this is 130, that's why. Okay, I was off by 10. So it's going to be minus 587. Okay, I'm going to unclutter this. So you should have gotten 133. X is 133. Alright, now this one just has a little bit more extra here. You have a 2x and an x. So together that is 3x plus 160 plus 125 plus 110 plus 147 plus 112. So I've got 160 plus 125 plus 110 plus 112 plus 147 equals 654. So I'm going to write that down and double check it. $654. 3x plus 654. And what does it have to equal? Let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Be careful right here. 6, 7. Okay, I think I remember last year that we found one of these was missing something. So let's apply n minus 2 times 180. What I mean by that is one of the problems we did last year, the angle here looks so straight that the book made a mistake. We'll see if this is it. Okay, so there are 7 sides. That means 5 times 180 equals 900. And 900 minus 654 is 246. and divide both sides by 3, and you get x is 82. And that looks about like 82 degrees. And this was not the one they made a mistake on. There is one in the book where they made a mistake, though. You know, the only problem I have with doing problems like this is that I'm not talking to you. You know, I'm not looking at you. And when I'm not looking at you, I don't have quite as much fun, which means that this isn't as much fun for anybody. All right, these are external angles. They're on the outside. And you have 3 of them because it's a 3-sided figure. Even though thinking about how this works, okay, are these external angles are going to have to equal up to 180 degrees all the way. But I'm thinking, okay, normally we would see all the arrows going in the same direction. That's what you're accustomed to. So it would look like this, and then this, and then this. And thinking about how this works, okay, are these external angles are going to have to equal up to 180 degrees all the way. But I'm thinking, okay, normally we would see all the arrows going in the same direction. That's what you're accustomed to. So it would look like this, and then this, and then this. And you'd be looking at that angle right there. You're not accustomed to see them right beside each other like that. But since these are vertical angles, this would be 5x as well. Okay, using our external angles theorem, it doesn't matter what size or number of sides the polygon has, it should equal 360. So we've got 5x, and 5x is 10x, plus 8 is 18x, equals 360. Sorry, not 180, but 360. Okay, and divide both sides by 18, you should get 20. 20x equals 20. Okay, let's make sure we answered the questions. Find the value of x. We have. Okay, we're going to unclutter. All right, in a regular nonagon, the exterior angles are all congruent. So it's 9-sided, and the external angles are all congruent. What is the measure of one of the external angles? Explain. Since they're all congruent, we're going to take 360 and divide by 9 to find out how much each one is. So 360 divided by 9 should give you 40. So they're equal to 40 degrees. And to explain that, you would need to write something. So that would be the sum of the external angles for any polygon is 360. 360 divided by 9 equals 40. That's your explanation. Okay, now you want to pull out your parallelogram characteristics. Okay, in a parallelogram, you're going to use these to answer these questions. It says find the value of each variable in the parallelogram. All right, well, we know that in any parallelogram, we have bisected diagonals. So m equals 10, and 8 equals n minus 3, so n equals 11. All right, same thing. We know that these are bisected, so we know they're equal. 11 equals c plus 5. That makes c 6. And d plus 4 equals 14, and that makes d 10. Okay, we know that opposite angles are congruent and opposite sides are congruent. So 103 degrees equals b plus 16. So moving your 16 over, 103 minus 16 is 87. And then to find A minus 10 equals 18 because opposite sides are congruent, so A must equal 28. I keep wanting to say any questions, but I know you're not going to answer me, so I won't bother. Alright, in PQRS, PQ measures 5 centimeters, QR measures 10 centimeters, and PQR measures 36 degrees. Sketch PQRS. Well, because it's hard to change what an angle looks like after the fact, we're going to start with the angle. We know PQR is 36 degrees, so we're going to draw an acute angle. And then we're going to remember, this is going to have to be P up here somewhere. So P is 5 centimeters. 5 centimeters. Q, and then R, QR is 10 centimeters, so we need to make this side twice as long. It doesn't have to be exact. And it says to sketch PQRS. Well, PQRS is a parallelogram, so we have to draw a parallel side. PQRS. And then we're going to need to mark it so that we know it's a parallelogram. You could mark it with equal sides or parallel marks. Okay, and remember to put your vertices in order around the figure. PQRS, PQSR, oops, PQRS. We're going this way. I'm tired. Are you tired? Oh, label all of its, find and label all of its side lengths. Okay, let's erase that last bit that I just did. Okay, because opposite sides are congruent, all of its side lengths are going to be congruent to the one across from it. Alright, the perimeter of a parallelogram EFGH is 16 inches. If EF is 5 inches long, find the lengths of all the other sides. Okay, we know it's a parallelogram. Might as well make it easy on ourselves. We'll just draw a rectangle. So that's a parallelogram. Okay, EF is 5 inches. GH. Now, you might have something that comes out and it doesn't, the sides, the lengths of the sides are not right. That's okay. But EF is 5. That means GH across from it must be 5. Those two sides together account for 10 inches. So we have 6 inches left to work with. We have 2 sides left to divide them among. So this is 3 and this is 3. Explain your reasoning. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So you just wrote a 1,000-word essay. Then you would say the long sides together are 10, leaving 6 for the short sides. And that divided by 2, because there are 2 short sides, would give you 3. In JKLM, the ratio of the measure of J to M is 5 to 4. Okay, so the bigger angle is J, 5 to 4. Find J, angle J and angle M. Okay, JKLM. Oops, the bigger angle is J. So we need to draw this differently, just so that it doesn't confuse us. Okay, JKLM. Okay, and this one's 5 times the size of the smaller one, J and M. So 5x plus 4x, they're not going to be equal to each other because one is an obtuse angle and the other is an acute angle, but they are consecutive angles in a parallelogram. Consecutive angles are supplementary, so together they have to equal 180, and that gives us 9x equals 180, so x equals 20. Okay, keep in mind you can always roll these videos back just a little bit. I'm not spending a lot of time between them because if you got it, you should get to move on, and if you don't got it, you can always go back.